So today I'm going to be showing you how I make my easy and creamy baked mac and cheese. Just one tip. I just want to always make sure you taste the seasoning as you go along and only adding a little bit at a time. Just because it works for me doesn't mean, you're going to like that amount. So that's one of the best tips I can give. Also, I know a lot of people aren't together and, they don't have their favorite aunts or mom's mac and cheese, but they love it. So I wanted to do our recipe and show it because it's easy for beginners. So I'm going to start by just showing you all the ingredients you're going to need. Again, the seasoning is, a little bit at a time and just to the amount that you probably like it. But I will tell you how much we use. It is a little bit of a cheese lovers, but it's really delicious. So, and you can always just not get as much cheese, but we are using triple cheddar. We have 2 bags of sharp cheddar. It's just not shown right now, but you'll see it later in the video. 2 bags of Colby cheese, 1 bag of mozzarella, 3 half blocks of Colby cheese, butter. We're going to grease the pan. Half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper, your favorite box of whatever noodles you want to use. We usually use different ones, but I wanted to be fancy for the video. Half a tablespoon of sugar, but please mix and taste as you go along. I'm going to be using 2 eggs and a half a cup of sour cream. May add a little bit more. 1 cup of half and half, and 1 cup of milk. I just feel like it's the best of both worlds. So now we're going to start. We're just going to be cutting up the Colby cheese. We're going to cut them up in little squares because I like to have some at the top and some at the bottom. And the point of having the little squares is it's almost like little small chunks of pops of cheese when you eat it. So it's one of my favorite things to do instead of doing all shredded. And I have to say this again, please make sure you're tasting when it comes to that sugar, salt, and pepper, and just adding a little bit at a time until you can get a good eye for it. We eyeball it now, so we don't use like anything to measure it. But if you put a little bit at a time and just kind of taste it, and make sure your mac and cheese isn't dry so you can really taste the seasoning, then that would save you a world of trouble. Because I know once I did it and I tried to redo it after it had got out the oven and it did not work. This was years ago. So now that's all cut up. We're going to boil our water, put a little salt in it, and I'm putting my small elbow or small shells. We usually use elbow macaroni, the larger ones, but I want to be fancy for the video. I add a little butter so it doesn't stick, and I'm just going to stir it around. My oven is set at 350, and I'm just going to make sure the bottom is not sticking because this pan that I have is tricky and sometimes it will. So the butter helps. And I'm just going to keep coming back. I don't want to cook it too long, so I don't want it to be overdone. So now that I've greased my pan, which I'm not used to doing because I usually use an aluminum pan from the Dollar Tree. I get 2 of them and I stack them together. I'm just going to start mixing in my noodles. I just want to make sure they're not sticking together. So I'm just going to stir them around a little bit, and then I'm just going to add the milk and some of the cheeses. The pan was a little too small, so I ended up having to move it to the pan to finish. But I started out pouring in a little bit of milk and stirring it around, making sure nothing was sticking. It wasn't even before I poured the milk. I just wanted to make sure. So I'm going to pour some more milk in there. It's easier to do it in a pan because I like to be able to see and make sure the mac and cheese isn't dry. And if it's not cooking in a pot, it's hard for me to tell because I need to be able to see a little bit of liquid. I'm going to start with the triple cheddar cheese, and I'm going to pour that in first. Some of the cheeses I did save a little bit for the top. So some of the bags didn't get fully poured in because I wanted the top to look really nice. I like it when it's a two-tone kind of mac and cheese. So I'm just going to stir that. I'm going to put in my sharp cheddar. I'm going to put both bags, but I'm going to save like 1/4 out of the second bag. I saved like the slightest amount in a couple of bags just for the top of it. I'm going to work with what I have, but I really miss having my pan, but I'm just going to keep going. So next is the Colby Jack. Both of these go in and they just get stirred. That's kind of what majority of it tastes like. It tastes like Colby with just a couple of other cheeses added to make it fancy when it's all said and done. I think Colby is one of the best tasting cheeses, especially for baked mac and cheese. For stovetop mac and cheese, I feel like it's sharp cheddar. But for bake, I just love the way Colby tastes. Um, so that's one of my favorite. That's why I got so much of it. So here's the mozzarella. I did save a little bit of mozzarella, like the other bags. As you can see, it would have been so much easier if I had my pan, but I'm just stirring because that's what you have to do. You got to kind of stir and whip and get the cheeses mixed together as best as possible because that makes the best mac and cheese to me. So next I'm going to be adding the sour cream. I didn't add all of it. If I had the aluminum pan, I would just be doing all of it at one take, but I don't, so I'm just going to add some and mix it because it's kind of hard for me to eyeball it in the pot because I've never used a pot for it before. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but you have to, when your noodles are done, that's when you want to add the 2 eggs. Sometimes if you don't, like, your mac and cheese will get grainy. So another tip is just to add them as soon as the noodles come out and stir them around. And then a lot of times now, that's when I put the sour cream in. That's how I do it now. So next is the other bag of Colby Jack that's being added. So I'm going to give this a mix the best I can. Like I said, it was getting crowded in that pot. So I'm going to get ready to move it to a pan so I can have mixing and elbow room to really stir it around. So this is what it's supposed to look like once you add the rest of the liquid. I didn't show it, but I added the half and half, the salt and pepper, and the 2 eggs, and the rest of the milk. So that's why it's so creamy now. Now we're going to do the salt, pepper, and the sugar. Again, just add a little bit and taste as you go. I hate stirring in this pan because it's not like the Dollar Tree pan, because now once the cheese stick, it may stick to the pan. I may have to scrub it. But for the purpose of the mac and cheese, I'm just going to have to do what I have to do. So first, you just want to get you a spoon or a fork or whatever and just taste it. We've already added some of the salt, pepper, and sugar. Again, the best tip I can give you is add a little bit at a time because we eyeball and taste as we go. So it's hard to give complete measurements when it comes to the seasoning. So now I'm just going to add some of the black Colby cheese in there. Do the whole pan, leave a couple spaces, and then the rest goes at the top after I do the shredded cheese. This is a little bit of Colby Jack that I had left. Didn't have much at all left, but I wanted to put it at the top. Like I said, there's so many cheeses that I leave a little bit in that the top it's gonna be covered regardless. So just a little bit from each one to me makes a good taste. Now I'm going to add the rest of the black Colby cheese at the top because I do like a kind of thick cheese at the top. I don't know if that makes sense, like a thick layer. So I'm going to add some at the top and squeeze them in there as best as I can. Like I did say at the beginning, this is a cheese lovers. Definitely. And there's some of the mozzarella. It looks so amazing. There's some of the mozzarella. Here's some of the sharp cheddar going just around the edges. So I wanted to make a pretty top for my baked mac and cheese, and that's exactly what this is doing. So it's going to look amazing. So this is the finished product. I'm going to put the recipe in the description bar just in case it was a little confusing. This is it in the oven. We put aluminum foil on it and we baked it for 20 minutes, and then for 10 minutes without. It was on 350, and this is how it came out. It's so creamy and cheesy. I don't like a dry mac and cheese. Plus you got to reheat it to cook it again, so don't dry it out. And this is what it looks like once it's settled. And the next best thing to bake mac and cheese is candied yams. So make sure you go and watch our video for that. And if you need another pasta dish, we do have an amazing baked spaghetti dish. Like I said, all these recipes are easy and good for beginners, especially if you can't be with your loved ones right now, but you still want some good tasting soul food. So we also have tender rib video of how we cook that. And because it's getting cold outside, we did do a Chili's video as well. I'll put a link in the description of all those videos so you can go to them. And since it's the holidays, we also have desserts, which this is our sweet potato pie. And speaking of holidays, we have some great DIY Dollar Tree Christmas decoration. We did our kitchen, our living room, our hallway, our bathroom, our dining room, and our basement as well. And we show you the hauls, the new things that the Dollar Tree were able to get in store, and how we use them to turn our house into this amazing Christmas wonderland. So please go and watch those videos. I'll probably link one in the description box as well. And after Christmas is over, a lot of parties start for birthdays. I know birthdays are different this year, so if you want to know how to decorate your home for your kids or just for yourself for your birthdays, we also have Dollar Tree birthday party hauls, where we show you how to do either an adult theme like this or like maybe a teen theme, but just kind of like a simple one that's kind of just like happy birthday, so it kind of goes with any birthday. Or if you want more kiddish, we did do a unicorn or a My Little Pony Dollar Tree birthday haul. We showed you how we decorated, and all this stuff that we're showing is from the Dollar Tree. Like even the Mylar pony balloons, the happy birthday sign. So we do a haul first, letting you see how, or not how, letting you see everything that we bought. And then after that, we show you how we kind of did our balloons, how we put them together, and how we decorated for these new type of birthdays that we're celebrating.
So I wanted to give an updated in-depth preview to the things we have going on. So we do have our full pizza lasagna. That was a full pan and it had the sausage on. This is the individual pan with just pepperoni and our cheese garlic bread. And I just wanted to show how cheesy it was. We didn't wait the 30 minutes, so it's not stiff like it should be, but it's delicious. It's hard to wait the 30 minutes. So that's why it was like that, but it's absolutely delicious. Can't wait to post that recipe. Also with our cheese bread that we'll be doing, cheese garlic bread. Then we have our loaded spaghetti, which my mom is famous for. Good cheese at the top of it. And once you see like a good look at that inside, it's loaded with different types of meats and it's delicious. And then the favorite, I think, is the baked mac and cheese. Everyone tends to love it, tends to brag about it. It's one of the easiest mac and cheese. It's kind of like a one pot that you mix, and then the next pot that you put it in is the pan that you bake it in. But as you can see, it's cheesy and creamy, so it's not dry at all. And I wanted to give a little preview to our party planning business that's coming up. This is just done in my house with only like 1/4 of the shimmer and shine decorations that I actually have. But I just wanted to show how easy it was. And a lot of that stuff we made was DIY with dollar store materials, the gold plates, the rhinestone mesh I got from Amazon for really cheap. Also, the lamps were from Party City. They were cheap. The bottle that's blue in the middle, dollar store. And the favorites came from Smash Invites on Instagram, and she is amazing. So just keep a lookout for these new things we have coming up.